You know, there's something truly special about the freedom that comes with driving. The open road, the independence, the ability to go wherever you want, whenever you want. It's something many of us have cherished for decades. But as the years go by, it's important to ask ourselves an honest question. Is driving still as safe as it used to be for me? Now, this isn't about taking away anyone's independence. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about making sure we stay safe, confident, and in control. Whether that means adjusting how we drive or finding new ways to stay mobile. The truth is, our bodies and reflexes change over time. And sometimes, those changes happen so gradually, we don't even notice them. But ignoring the signs can put us, and others, at risk. So today, let's talk about 5 warning signs that it might be time to reconsider driving. Not as an ending, but as a new chapter. And more importantly, we'll explore what to do instead, so you can keep living life on your terms. The first sign to watch for is vision trouble. Now, I'm not just talking about needing reading glasses. As we age, our eyesight can change in ways that make driving more challenging, like trouble seeing at night, blurred vision, or even delayed reaction to glare from headlights. Maybe you've noticed street signs are harder to read until you're right up on them, or that bright sunlight leaves you squinting longer than it used to. These aren't just minor annoyances. They can seriously affect your ability to react quickly on the road. If this sounds familiar, don't worry. It doesn't automatically mean hanging up the keys for good. Start by scheduling a thorough eye exam. An optometrist can check for correctable issues like cataracts or update your prescription. You might also consider limiting driving to daytime hours or avoiding high traffic areas if night vision is a concern. The second sign is slower reflexes. Think back to when you were younger. How quickly could you hit the brake if a car suddenly stopped in front of you? Now, be honest. Does it take you a little longer these days? Maybe you've had a few close calls where you thought, I wouldn't have missed that turn signal when I was 50. Reaction time naturally slows with age, and that split-second delay can make all the difference in avoiding an accident. One way to test this is to pay attention to how you feel in busy traffic or at busy intersections. Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you sometimes miss turns or lane changes because things are happening too fast? If so, it might be time to practice defensive driving strategies, like leaving extra space between you and the car ahead, or even exploring quieter routes. Now, before we move on to the next signs, let's pause here. Recognizing these changes isn't about giving up freedom. It's about taking control in a way that keeps you and everyone else on the road safe. Because the goal isn't just to keep driving at all costs. It's to stay mobile, active, and independent in the best way possible for you. And speaking of independence, that brings us to our next point. You know, one of the hardest things about getting older is admitting that some things just don't feel the same as they used to. And when it comes to driving, one of the biggest warning signs isn't about our eyes or reflexes. It's about something deeper: confidence. Have you ever found yourself hesitating before merging onto the highway? Or maybe you've started avoiding left turns across busy streets because they make you nervous. These little moments of doubt aren't just passing thoughts. They're your instincts, telling you something important. Confidence behind the wheel matters, because hesitation can be just as dangerous as poor vision or slow reflexes. If you're constantly feeling tense or unsure while driving, it might be time to ask yourself if the stress is worth it. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean you have to stop driving altogether. Instead, think about adjusting how you drive. Stick to familiar routes, avoid rush hour, or plan trips during quieter times of day. Some people even take a refresher driving course designed for seniors. They're a great way to brush up on skills and boost confidence without any pressure. The fourth sign is something many of us don't like to talk about: memory lapses. Have you ever driven somewhere and then, for a moment, couldn't remember how you got there. Or maybe you've missed exits or turns you've taken 100 times before. Occasional forgetfulness is normal, but when it starts happening regularly behind the wheel, it's a red flag. Driving requires constant awareness, knowing where you are, reading signs, anticipating traffic patterns, and memory glitches can put you at risk. If this sounds familiar, start paying attention to how often it happens. Do you get disoriented in places you used to know well? Do family members mention that you seem distracted or confused on the road? These could be signs that it's time to explore other transportation options, not because you can't drive, but because there might be safer, less stressful ways to get around. And that brings us to the most important part: what to do instead. Because giving up driving doesn't mean giving up freedom. In fact, for many seniors, finding alternatives can be a relief. Less stress, no more worrying about parking or traffic, and often more time to enjoy the ride. We'll talk much more about that in a moment. But first, let's touch on one last warning sign, one that's easy to overlook, but just as critical as the others. The last warning sign is one that often creeps up without us even realizing it: close calls and near misses. Maybe you've had a few recent scares, a stop sign you didn't see until the last second, a pedestrian you barely noticed stepping off the curb, or a moment where your foot hesitated between the gas and brake. It's easy to brush these off with a sigh of relief and think, well, nothing bad happened. But when these close calls start adding up, they're not just luck. They're a signal that your driving skills may not be as sharp as they once were. Family and friends might gently mention their concerns too. Now, I know it's not easy to hear. After all, driving often feels tied to our independence and pride. But if people who care about you are expressing worry, it's worth listening. They're not trying to take anything away from you. They just want to keep you safe. So, what can you do if driving is no longer the best option? The good news is, there are more alternatives than ever. Public transportation, senior shuttle services, rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft, many of which offer senior-friendly features, and community volunteer driving programs can all help you stay mobile without the stress of being behind the wheel. You might even find that letting someone else do the driving gives you more freedom to relax, enjoy the scenery, or chat with a friend along the way. And let's not forget walking. If distance allows, a short stroll to the store or pharmacy can be a great way to stay active while running errands. For longer trips, consider combining options. Maybe a ride to a social event with a friend, then a taxi back. The key is to plan ahead so you never feel stranded. Now, if the idea of giving up driving still feels overwhelming, start small. Try going a week without driving and see how it feels. Use that time to explore other transportation methods and lean on family or neighbors when needed. You might be surprised at how manageable and even liberating it can be. Remember, this isn't about losing independence. It's about making smart choices so you can stay active and safe for years to come. Plenty of seniors find that once they transition away from driving, they actually feel more freedom, less worry, less maintenance, and more time to focus on the things they truly enjoy. So, if any of these warning signs resonated with you, take it as an opportunity, not an ending. Talk to your doctor, discuss options with loved ones, and most importantly, be proud of yourself for facing this with honesty and courage. Because the real measure of independence isn't holding on to the wheel at all costs. It's knowing when to adapt, so you can keep living life on your own terms. And that's something worth celebrating. Here's to your safety, your wisdom, and all the adventures still ahead, wherever the road takes you. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more honest, helpful conversations about thriving at any age. Until next time, take care and and keep moving forward.